now, the Competition Commission has stopped the sale of Sasol's sodium cyanide plant to a Czech-based company. We're going to find out from the Competition Commission, James Hodge, as to why this is. James, good morning to you. Thanks for your time in joining us here on eNCA. And so whenever it comes to these issues, please speak Gareth to me so I can understand what's going on. What is the problem here? Just unpack it for me.
So sodium cyanide is mainly used by the gold mining industry to leach gold from ore. So it's a critical input into our gold mining industry, which is, of course, a big employer and a big earner of foreign exchange. So the essential problem here is that the merger would have resulted in a sort of 30, 40, 50% price increase for sodium cyanide. And that has severe implications for the gold mining industry. So how much gold you can produce depends on how much of it is economic to extract. And as soon as your costs go up, less is economic to extract, which means less gold output, less exports, and fewer jobs.
So why was the competition involved in this? Because my basic understanding of the organization is this is when it starts looking into uncompetitive behavior, market disadvantage or market advantage. So why was the Competition Commission involved?
Well, this is a merger, so we review all mergers over a certain size to see if they will result in price increases or harm competition. So Sasol was selling this to a Czech company, Draslovka, and as a result of that sale, what would happen essentially is that Sasol, which operated a plant, an integrated plant, would now charge Draslovka a US dollar-based global fee for the feedstock that goes into this plant, and Draslovka would then add its own margin onto that. And that's why the price would go up so much. So as a matter of merger control, we put a halt to this.
So this halt currently in place at the moment, do either of the two companies, James, have to secede to certain conditions? Are there certain requirements that you as the Competition Commission have put into place that they need to go back and re-look at and then agree to before it can go further, or what happens next?
So during the process of a merger investigation, we do explore remedies if we do believe there's some problem. So we have been, in fact, engaging them throughout the investigation around potential remedies. We explored a cap on price increases, and that they rejected. We also explored other ways in which we could limit the price effects of this merger. But they said, to go ahead, that would make the deal uneconomic. So the decision we've made is final. It's an intermediate merger, which means we decided and we have prohibited it. They can review this before the Competition Tribunal if they so wish.
So what is the timeline for something like this? Because I would imagine that this isn't going to halt the production or distribution of cyanide. That business still needs to continue. But I imagine Sasol and this Czech company want to try and wrap this up as soon as they can. What kind of timeframes are we looking at?
Well, you're right that nothing prevents the plant from continuing to produce, and Sasol will continue to do so. Well, they have to make a decision whether they want to review our prohibition or not. So, we think that the odds are quite low because of the price effects of this merger and the downstream effects on an important industry in South Africa. So they either abandon the deal or they take us on review and see if they can win it at the tribunal.
How much time was given to both of the companies to put forward their side and their version of the business plan to the Competition Commission? How long has this been in the making before you put a halt to it?
Well, an intermediate merger of this type has 60 business days in order to run the investigation, and we used the full 60 days. So we did engage them, as I said, very early on. The gold mining industry raised a red flag for us, saying we're very concerned about price increases, which would have a negative effect. We also had a complaint from the Department of Trade and Industry and Competition. And so we have been engaging the parties for some time throughout that process around what the extent of the price increase will be and whether they can remedy or not. So there have been extensive engagements throughout this process.
I'm curious, would the Competition Commission, James, go as far as to make recommendations on the pricing now that you've been speaking to these other departments as well? Or do you simply say, look, we can't allow it at this kind of price point. It's uncompetitive. You need to go back and come up with another number. You bring that to us. Or does your organization say to them, here's where we think you should be aiming at?
So remember, Gareth, that essentially the merger will result in a price increase. So Sasol currently prices some 40–50% below import parity, and that's a profitable price for it at the moment, and we have no complaints with that price. It's if the merger went ahead, the price would increase. So by stopping the merger, we stop the price increase. But we have no complaint with the price where it currently stands, and neither does the gold industry.
So what would be considered reasonable, James? Is there a figure in mind?
Well, as I said, Gareth, at the moment it's priced well below import parity, which is your next alternative. And that seems to be one acceptable to the gold mining industry. The merger would have resulted in moving up to very close to import parity, and that is an unreasonable increase. So that's a massive change in the price, and that has severe consequences for the gold industry. So that's why we blocked the merger.
Well, I appreciate your time. Thank you. It actually makes sense now. I understand what the halting process is and why it's taking place. James, hopefully we'll speak again once this gets underway later, once both the companies, Sasol and this Czech company, are able to come back to the Commission and bring back new numbers and new ways of forming this acquisition. It's 25 after 6.